Thanks for joining us on 9 News Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi. A bill aimed at bringing in more school therapists in Colorado unanimously passed the House and Senate last week. Senate Bill 4 would allow school districts to hire therapists who are not licensed by the State Department of Education, which is currently required. Under that bill, school therapists would still need to have a state license and pass a background check. We spoke with Senator Sonia Jaquez Lewis, one of the sponsors of the bill, about why she believes this was an important step to bringing more mental health resources to schools.
Senator Marchman and I had been working on that bill actually since she was actually working on it before when she was a candidate, and she and I spoke about it last year and said, well, let's get you into office as a senator, and we can see what we can do. But we had Senate Bill 4, we had dramatic testimony in our committee. We had Boulder Valley School District teachers, we had Thompson Valley School District teachers, St. Vrain teachers. I believe one other school district actually take the time to come in and talk about what they're dealing with in schools with the shortage of mental health providers now in the school system. So very much a shortage of these mental health providers, and we can do something about it without spending any money, without spending any having a fiscal note, because basically these mental health providers are already certified through and licensed through DORA. They were just missing a certification through the Department of Education. So the bill very simply and concisely identified providers that are already ready to go. They were just missing a certification that they needed to work with students who are in crisis in our school system right now. So the Department of Regulatory Agency, so DORA licenses pharmacists like myself. I'm a pharmacist. They license doctors, nurses, many of the medical side of the profession, and they also have a certification that they do for psychologists and other behavioral health providers. And so that's why some of these professionals were already in the school system, because they had a license through DORA. So some of the school districts actually were hiring third-party vendors to bring in therapists that were hired through an outside agency. And so the school system, they were already working there in the schools, but they were coming in via third party, because the third party was making sure they had the right paperwork. Now we can have these therapists that already have their license through our Colorado department, and now we can speed up the requirement that they have to be able to practice in the school without going through a third-party vendor. I think the Department of Ed, just like so many departments, really wanted to look into making sure they had qualified, behavioral health providers. And so it made sense. Department of Ed is over school systems. So it made sense to make sure that folks had the right training, the right education, the right certification. And then as we started to see more behavioral health providers getting licensed through DORA and also going into the school system, we identified that, hey, it's a paperwork issue. So, I mean, to be honest, Senate Bill 4 is a common sense piece of legislation that will instantly avail us of critically needed mental health providers for our kids in crisis. It is just a common sense bill that we were able to identify. And I think that's why it had a unanimous vote in both chambers. We don't have enough psychologists in the schools. We don't have enough providers that are used to working in the school system. And this bill allows folks that are already credentialed, many of them already working in school systems, to be able to be official. They will now have the correct certification paperwork because they will be able to accept the DORA licensure. And that's the beauty of this, is we can instantly get help for the kids in crisis. Or they maybe don't have access. They don't have the ability to get to an appointment. Maybe their therapist is in another city. Maybe they're very active students that are doing things extracurricular and they just can't figure out how to fit it in. But if they have an open class period or even half of a class period where they can just have that extra professional voice that can help them through what they're, what's going on with them, in school, I think, or at home. I think this is why school therapy is so important. We have kids that are in crisis that cannot find a provider or maybe don't have the ability to get to a therapist. And now, because these mental health experts are already in the school system, you have quicker access. We have more of these therapists that are now have the correct certification to help more of these kids in need.